Well, welcome to tonight's show. You're with Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. Our friend Tom is still overseas, sunning it up, enjoying himself, having a wonderful old time.
Jaunting around the US all day.
Yes, and...
Bit like yourself, Steve, last week. How was New Zealand?
New Zealand was cold. New Zealand is always cold.
Oh, come on.
You know, and I really... Look, I'm struggling today.
You need to hold that little doll tight.
I think I need to hold this tight. I'm absolutely struggling.
I told your wife that you played with dolls and she didn't believe me.
Of course my wife won't believe that I play with dolls. I just don't... She won't see this anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, neither will mine.
Goodness. Well, listen, we've had some wonderful football this past couple of weeks because we've been away for a couple of weeks. So
couple of weeks.
There's probably no point in going back to last week's game. So let's scrub those if they... Hang on. South won that weekend. Maybe we should talk about it. But anyway. But there's been some interesting things happen through the week.
There has. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been scandal and controversy, as is the way of the NRL.
To go with the great football.
Yes.
So, do you want to mention anything about the sexting scandal at South?
Well, I know Tom wants to mention something about the sexting scandal at South.
Yeah, Tom's actually asked me to read his comments. So
before you do, let me just give my 2 cents worth. Okay.
Is it really worth that?
Not really.
No.
It was an unsavoury incident.
Yep. If it happened.
Well, I can't believe that it didn't happen. But, this is the age of electronic media that we live in. And... Yeah. You know what? That may have been... Whichever South's player was responsible, that was a really dumb move.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's got to the point where the young lady involved has passed that on to the media, I think that is a reflection on her as well. So,
yeah, but
I don't think it's anything... I personally think it's a storm in a teacup.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these things happen.
Yeah.
And... if it wasn't a high-profile rugby league player, then we wouldn't be hearing about it.
No, and look, there is more to the story that hasn't come out, apparently.
100%, I'm sure.
And so, it's a bit hard. And look, the NRL and South have both said they've had an investigation. They see nothing to act on, so therefore it is.
Yep.
Now, Tom's comment is...
Tom, this is for you, Tom.
This is for you. In regard to the outcome of last week's sexting investigation, the NRL state no player breached any code of conduct, but surely this constitutes bringing the game into disrepute as much, if not more, than Mitchell Pearce.
Oh.
The double standard is concerning.
Please. Is there more?
No, that's it. Well, that's all about. He wants to talk about the games, but...
Well, okay. Well, I'll say one thing. I'll say a couple of things about that too.
Okay.
The alleged player is a high-profile South Sydney player who has never been in trouble in any way, shape or form in the past.
Like this, yeah.
Never. Mitchell Pearce was at that time, continual repeat offender. He was on his least 3rd or 4th reprimand for bad alcohol-induced behaviour. His was actually an illegal act. It was illegally filmed, an illegal act with it illegally filmed.
Yep.
The other one in the case was apparently consenting between 2 people and then publicised.
And that's the challenge with this one, that it seems that it was consenting.
Yep.
And so it's a bit hard to be consenting and then be screaming about it later. Now, there are conspiracy theories going around. I
bet you there is. Quick, give us one. Because we're going to move into the realms of stupid now.
No, this is legitimate. That the lady involved, her brother is good friends with a Roosters player.
Oh, please.
And interestingly enough, this came to light, went to media straight after South beat St George the week before. Now, it may not have anything to do with it, but there's a conspiracy theory that the Roosters told her to hang on. They knew it happened, and they said wait until the semis to announce it. That's the conspiracy.
Right. Well, I think the conspiracy is there's more to it than that. Well, anyway, like I said,
let's talk about football.
Been investigated and it's come
And
clean.
it's done.
And you know what? If those photos are around in circulation, it's a police matter, and we shouldn't be discussing it anyway.
That's right.
Sorry, Tom, you're out.
In more ways than one.
Feel free, Tom, to argue with us. If you disagree, please say so now in the next 3 seconds.
1, 2, 3. No, he said okay. All right, so let's talk about Friday night's game, Sharks and the Storm. I really feel for the Sharks because you know what? I think they just ran out of players. They had a few players off injured before the game.
Yeah.
And then through the game, they lost 2 or 3 players. I think, honestly, as courageous as their performance was, they just ran out of players.
I don't know. I don't know whether. Well, I don't think that was the reason though. You know, that week off really benefited the Storm. It allowed them to get those big forwards back and fit and firing,
Yep.
and the Sharks then had to go through it the hard way,
Yep.
and they had to play every week, and that takes its toll.
Yep, it does.
And it really did. And to be honest, at 20-0 at half time, I feared the worst. And so
Yeah.
the Sharks actually came back really well in the second half.
Well, they won the second half.
Yeah, but
22-6. They actually scored more points in the second half than Melbourne did. Now, I would have thought that Bellamy would be very upset about the fact that Melbourne didn't score any more, well, other than a penalty goal, any more than 2 points in the second half, because you really want your team to go on with the game. You don't want them just, shutting up shop.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Sharks came out in the second half far more fired up. It was Melbourne just blew them off the park.
Yeah.
In the first half.
Yeah.
And admittedly, the score at 20-0 could have been 30-0.
Oh, easy.
They were just dominant, and the Sharks came out in the second half and niggled them to death. Andrew Fafita niggled, and the Storm kept biting at it. And that may be one way to get around them. Are you listening out there, Trent Robinson? That may be one way to get around them. Niggle them. Get under their skin. Andrew Fafita is an expert at it, and
although I feared he was about to lose the plot towards the end of it.
I thought he was.
I could see him just rattling up to some players and just laying in because he was about to lose the plot.
He was very, very loose. So I thought very dominant display by Melbourne in the first half, and the Sharks with their comeback in the second half. I thought they were good, and they niggled, and they did what the Sharks have been doing to win games. So
So given the 2 results, and we'll talk about South and the Roosters in a minute, but given the 2 results, both went with teams that came first and second.
Yep.
Both went with teams that had the break.
Yep.
Do you see a lot of value in the break?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Melbourne looked a lot fresher, as did the Roosters. Look, it just we're used to, the teams are used to playing with a bye, and they know how to prepare for that. And I thought, in my opinion, it was a massive advantage. Yeah. And in fact, I think if it had gone the other way around, so if Souths had managed to get over the Storm last week, they would have done the same thing to the Sharks. I honestly think it's that, we've played 25 rounds, then 2 finals games in a competition where the difference between first and 8th was a game.
It was 1 win.
A week off is, it's worth a game.
Yeah.
So I think that it played a major part.
Okay, so let me ask the question that's been talked about all week. Billy Slater. Was it a shoulder charge, and do you think he should miss the grand final if you say it was?
I think it was a shoulder charge. By the current definition of a shoulder charge, it was a shoulder charge. So in that case, yes, and I think it's unfortunate because don't hear me saying that the shoulder charge is wrong. I love the shoulder charge, and I think that when it goes wrong, the players should be given a massive suspension. But geez, when it goes right, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was a great tackle. It was a try-saving tackle. Fecky is a compact unit. He was scoring for all money.
Oh yeah,
and
I guess that's the point where a lot of people are saying he shouldn't miss. The only way Billy Slater was going to stop him scoring was the way he tackled him.
However,
he had no other choice.
That tackle is illegal, so therefore he shouldn't have done it. It should have been a penalty try. He was going to score, and
he was going to score. That's right.
It should have been a penalty try.
And they talked about that on the night. That
did they?
Should it have? Yeah, they questioned whether it should be a penalty try, but I don't know.
And I think, like I said, I think it's sad that it's got to the point where a good, solid tackle that saves a try can be deemed illegal because he didn't put his arms up when he's coming across the field. But
at speed.
You read that definition, and the definition defines a shoulder charge, and Billy, that was a shoulder charge.
One of the arguments that has been brought out today is that the definition is supposed to be one-on-one, face-to-face.
Yep.
Because the idea is to stop the whiplash of the neck.
Yep.
Going backward and forward.
So going side to side's okay.
It's not likely to give you as much damage going side to side as it is forward and back.
No, I can't disagree.
Tom says Slater should go.
Of course he does. Tom's biased. I'm like I said.
Hey! Look, if South were playing Melbourne, I'd be saying Slater
should go. But you're not biased, Steve.
No,
so it's okay.
That's true. I'm not. No.
Look, like I said, I think it's unfortunate, but yeah, that's the rules, and I think that.
I hate the thought of players missing a grand final. Isaac Luke in 2014.
Yep.
Cameron Smith in 2009. There's been others in between, even going back to Steve Roach in 1989 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I hate players missing grand finals. I just think there's got to be an exception.
No. The exception. No, the exception is that if you don't have the illegal act, you don't miss the game. You're doing 80 and a 60 and you get pulled over. You get fined. That's it. Bang. There's no, but officer, there was no one else here. I was not going to, hurt or hit anyone.
What about the argument that there is a number of times through the year where that exact thing has happened and not even a penalty?
Hey, inconsistency of the judiciary and the refs are the biggest blight on the game at the moment. That doesn't make this.
You're a hard man.
That doesn't make this right.
You're a hard man.
Look, I said, I think it was a great tackle, but the NRL doesn't. The NRL says that's a shoulder charge. In saying that, that's my opinion, and I think, and just off record, Billy Slater's paying $5.50 for Clive Churchill medal. Go put your money on him now, because I don't think they'll suspend him.
I actually think they will. And you know what? I really feel for the NRL because they're going to get dumped on either way. They suspend him, and it'll be cries of shouldn't happen.
They won't suspend him.
They do suspend him. Look, they can't win. The NRL cannot win whichever way it goes. Let's talk about the Sydney Roosters and South Sydney. I'm devastated.
Steve.
12-4 Sydney Roosters won. They scored 3 tries to 0. The best defensive team against the best attacking team, and the best attacking team couldn't score any points.
What went wrong, Steve?
I don't know, but I'm going to show you something. I went through the stats the other day.
I want to know. Tell me what went wrong.
I don't know. It wasn't. Nothing worked for them. Every 50-50 call went to the Roosters, but nothing was working. You had Damien Cook passing out of dummy half forward and along the ground, and that happened 2 or 3 times. You had players almost running in the way of each other in attacking modes that they would normally pull off quite easily in training and have done every game throughout the last 25 rounds.
Well, let me rephrase it then. What was the most disappointing aspect, apart from losing? Like, what was it in the game that you were most disappointed about?
That we didn't even look competitive. That South did not even look like they were going to score. I think the Jennings try, I don't believe it was a forward pass. It was touch and go. I think the Roosters pass where the guy bounced off Ferguson's hands and went to, I think that was a forward. But you know what? That's what I'm saying. All the 50-50 calls went to the Roosters, but South never looked like they were going to win. They seemed to play with heart. They got in there, they tackled, but there was something about them. I just think they panicked. I just think they played their grand final the week before against St George.
Perhaps. All right, now what stats were you going to point out, Steve?
Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is the losing team.
Losing team.
Had 52 to 48% possession. So South had more possession. South had a better completion rate, 74% to 70. South had, hang on, we'll go. They had more runs, more total runs. They had more run meters. They had more offloads. They had less line breaks. They kicked more often. They had more kick meters than what the Roosters did. They made less tackles and they missed less tackles. And they conceded less penalties. Hang on. If a team wins all the stats, more often than not, they win the game. And this is why I'm just finding this so remarkable that they were so poor.
No, and taking nothing away from the Roosters,
Take everything away from the Roosters. Come on.
I think for me, watching that game, I don't. And the problem is, I don't like the Storm, and I don't know whether the Roosters have the game to beat the Storm. And I thought the Bunnies could, which is unfortunate for me. I thought that there were three things that made a difference in that game. Greg Inglis, Sam Burgess.
Yep.
Those two guys are nearly without peer in their positions. You would take them over 99% of other players.
Yep.
When things started to go wrong from dummy half, which I think is where things started to go wrong, they didn't create anything.
No.
They didn't. They didn't step up.
Yeah.
And I think so. That's my first disappointment, that you've got two really fantastic players there that didn't create the opportunity. Second thing was your halves, Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds. If we were having this conversation right now and saying Damien Cook had a shocker, which he did, but look at how well Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds stepped up, we'd be talking about Souths winning.
Yeah.
And they didn't step up. They didn't create that opportunity or give the opportunity for the team to play within their structures. And the third thing is a thing that frustrates me more than anything else in rugby league. Rugby league is a contact sport.
Yep.
When an opposition player is busted and that coach and player stay on the field,
yep,
and 95% of the ball doesn't run straight at them, you deserve to lose the game.
Yeah,
Cooper Cronk could not even kick in general play because his shoulder was busted.
Yeah.
And you didn't run at him.
But you know what? The times that they did run at him, he still put his body in the way.
And he would have been killed. I would have been saying, Sam, there's your man. Bang. Yeah. George, there's your man. Bang.
Yeah, one after the other.
Yep, and just hurt him. Because, you know what?
Yeah.
New South Wales did it when Jonathan Thurston went down with a busted shoulder. They didn't run at him.
No.
And I don't think you guys did either. I mean, you did maybe twice, and then he aimed up and you backed off. But after the match, the mascot gave Cooper Cronk a pat on the back.
That's the Roosters mascot, not the Roosters one.
And he nearly fell over in pain.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you guys didn't run at him.
I can't help to think that we're overawed by the situation. The whole game was just bad.
Yep.
And that's all I can think of. Because you're right. I mean, go through the team. You've got the three Burgeye.
Yep.
You've got Inglis.
Yep.
Okay, you've got Reynolds, who's won a grand final before.
Yep.
You've got
Cody Walker.
I mean, there's just numerous players who you think at that stage could step up.
Yep.
I don't know what it was.
Well,
I really don't. It staggered me.
Let me just say, though, the Roosters punted Mitchell Pearce.
Yep.
Because they could make the semis and not get to a grand final. Yep. And they punted Mitchell Pearce for Cooper Cronk.
Yep.
He's done his job. He's got them to a grand final.
Yep.
You know, that was a call that, admittedly, if I was at the club, I wouldn't want it to make. But the Roosters made that call and it's worked for them.
Well, they've still got to win it, yes.
Yeah, but he got them there. I don't know whether Cooper Cronk will be playing, to be perfectly honest.
He will be.
I have heard that he might, but...
And that was going to be my next question to you. Do you think he's in or out?
Personally, I would carry him into the game. Because your half options are young O'Sullivan, who's going to the Broncos, who's played one first grade game, or Ryan Matheson, who is a back rower who plays in the halves. So you play Cooper Cronk. If he is busted, Ryan Matheson comes on, and you've lost an interchange, but you're carrying a back rower, so it's not as big a loss.
But in a grand final, to carry a player who's injured, it's a big risk.
Or to carry a player that's got them there and directs all of their attack and defence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's worth it.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's move on then and talk about. I mean, we've just been talking about the grand final, but let's talk about where you think Melbourne and the Roosters are at right now, because of the Slater issue, because of the Cronk issue. I mean, Jake Friend has been charged, but
no, I don't think he was charged.
Yeah, he was. He was charged, but he'll play because of the points.
Loading. Yep.
Yeah, so he's all right. But right now, you talk to any of the bookmakers and they're square. They can't separate them until they know what's happening with Cronk and Slater.
Which is true. So you'd have to imagine. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking the NRL will clear Slater and he'll play.
Yep.
But even if they don't, I don't think that Slater is as big a loss to the Storm when Jerome Hughes comes in at fullback. I think Cooper Cronk. There is no Mitchell Pearce. There is no one else that's an understudy halfback to step in.
Yep.
So I think that the Storm will fare better if both of those players are out.
Yep.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Who do you want to win? Okay, Tom, look away right now. Just close your ears, look away. Who do you want to win?
I don't want either of them to win. Can I say
You've got to have
that?
some. No, you can't. You've got to pick one.
All right. Well, I don't want
We talk about Tom sitting on the fence.
Okay. All right.
You can't sit on
I
the
don't
fence on
want
the grand
either
final.
team to win, Steve, but I want the Storm to lose more.
To lose less.
No, to lose more. I want them to lose, which means I want the Roosters to.
So you want the Roosters to win?
I don't want the Storm to win. Oh, it's such a horrible grand final.
This is going to be the first time in many, many years that a team is going to be able to go back to back. Since what, 1995 or something or other.
No Storm win.
But then the Roosters win.
No Roosters win.
So we're going. It's a draw, and they can't break them after 3 hours of golden point. So I don't know what to do. Look, I'm actually we're going to go to the game, and I'm looking forward to it. Not to the atmosphere. I love the grand final atmosphere. I really do. I think it's fun.
Yeah, and you as a South supporter have to be back in the Storm in this one.
Why me as a South supporter have to be back in the Storm?
Well, the Roosters just knocked you out, and they're forever in your shadow.
That's true. That's true. And did you hear about the march?
The march?
Yeah, the South the South supporters met at a pub near Central.
Yep.
And marched down to the ground all together towards the stadium the other night. How impressive was that? And we got smashed. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to say, I think the Storm will win. And I think the Storm will win reasonably comfortably. I think there'll be 8 points. I think the Storm will win by 8.
I think the thing that the Roosters have that's going to help them out is that Latrell Mitchell and Dylan Napper will be back. And they'll be better for the run against Souths.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Storm can play better than they did against the Sharks.
Yeah.
I thought they were very impressive, particularly in the first half. And I think the Roosters have got a long way to go to be, which is
okay. So
neither here nor there.
So how about we ask everybody to go on our Facebook page, NRL from the Sidelines.
Brian's going to set up another poll.
Brian's going to set up a poll about who is going to win the grand final.
I think Brad's already done that.
Did he?
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Brad,
okay.
have you already done that?
Anyway, Brian's going to set up another poll, but I'd like to know from everybody just who's going to win. And by the way, tell us how much they're going to win by. Okay, is it 8 points, 10 points, 1 point, draw, 3 hours of
3 hours of extra time. Hey, give us our money's worth.
Oh dear. All right. Well, look, you know what? That actually brings us to the end of our show. It's been a very quick one tonight because there's only 3 games to talk about.
25 minutes. You don't want to talk about anything else?
Unless you want to drag this out for the next...
Well, there are a couple of things. There are a couple of things I want to say.
Because this is our second last show, you realise.
We've got another show after this.
Are we doing a grand final one?
Oh, we could do a grand final one.
Tom will be back. We have to
do a final for Tom.
Tom.
We've got emerging
Actually,
nations.
If Roosters win, do we really want to do a show with Tom at the end?
Oh, he's got such a big head as it is.
Oh, yeah. I don't. Look, we'll leave. We'll sit on the fence about the next show.
Yes, splinters. Emerging nations.
Yes.
On Monday. I'm still keen to go. So grand final, and then 3 more games of footy at suburban Windsor. I'll be sitting there in the crowd, even if it's on my own. I don't care. There'll probably be 2 men and a dog there, so
No,
right.
I think it'll be packed.
You reckon?
Oh yeah.
Well, either way, I'm going to be there.
Who doesn't want to watch Hungary and Greece?
That's right. That's one thing.
Okay.
The other thing that I actually want to discuss is my club for a second. Manly had a woeful year, and
To say the least.
yes. And there's been a lot of criticism at Manly directed at Lyle Gorman and the Pens.
Yes.
So the owners and the CEO.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this is going to go, but the club have invited all members to an open forum. I think that could be a disaster for them. Look, I'm not, for anyone out there who's listening who's a Manly fan, you'll probably have very strong opinions on ownership and the CEO. I think the Pens are doing a far better job than they're given credit for. They're pumping money into an organisation that is not yielding success. I think that a lot of that blame has to come back to the CEO and the club structure, not necessarily the owners of the club. I think Lyle Gorman is on a hiding to nowhere, inviting a bunch of very angry members to an open forum where, and I quote from the letter that I got, we will be open to discuss any of your concerns.
Wow.
I'm thinking, wow.
That's brave.
That is, but you know what? I think, to be honest, I actually think that's what the club needs right now. The supporters at the moment are very frustrated and divided,
But that's going to be a challenge. The problem is they're divided.
Yep.
So instead of all being one and saying this is the way we'd like to move forward, they're not even going to be able to come up with a solution because even the supporters don't agree.
Yeah, what the solution is. The only thing that's going to change that supporter mood is success. They win games, and it won't matter who the coach is.
Yeah, of course.
Because at the moment, Barrett, Cartwright, Maguire, Tuvey, all of these names are thrown up.
Yeah.
You know what? It won't matter. Whoever next year, if they're winning, it doesn't matter what their name is.
But that's the case with anyone. And
so
you're winning games, they couldn't care less what you're doing. You're losing games, and
everybody's got an opinion.
That's right.
So I just thought it was worthwhile noting. I don't know of any other club that's had an open membership discussion about the club and ways forward. So
no, South did that years ago when they were talking about Russell Crowe buying them.
Yep.
And it got quite heated at times, but
this is going to be
But South aren't used to success at that point.
Well, I'm quite curious. I don't think I have any great forward solutions.
Are you going?
I'm very strongly considering it.
Where's the meeting? Belmore.
Brookvale, yeah. I'll go for 2 hours to sit at the back of an auditorium going, I can't hear anything. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought, brave move, well done. Look, you know what? They've got to do something to address the supporter base, and I think that this is a step forward, perhaps.
No, okay.
Even if it's dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. Dally M's on Friday.
Ooh, we did have something else. Dally M's. Yep.
Coach of the year? Seabold? Or McGregor?
No, I think Seabold would be my coach of the year. You?
Yeah, I'd go Seabold.
Fullback?
Fullback. Tuivasa-Sheck, I guess.
So yeah,
Slater.
Where did he come from? I
have no idea, but everyone's talking about Tuivasa-Sheck.
I think Tedesco's had a great year.
Tedesco has had a great second half of the year. I don't think Tedesco was all that impressive leading up probably to State of Origin.
Well, mind you, he still got picked, and then since State of Origin, he's been fantastic.
Yeah. Ferguson for wing?
I would think so. He's made...
Why are the Roosters letting him go?
Why did he make a decision so far out?
To bring in a 30-year-old from England?
I don't know. Look, I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to go Ferguson with an outside chance of Addo-Carr.
Yeah.
But it'd have to be an outside chance.
Tell you what, I'm actually watching the Melbourne game the other day. Addo-Carr has really come to the fore where Vunivalu has really slipped behind him, don't you think? Because a couple of years ago it was reversed.
Yeah.
You know, and really the one that everyone watches now is Addo-Carr, and Vunivalu just seems to have drifted into the background a little bit.
Well, I think State of Origin did Addo-Carr a massive favour.
Yep,
because he's been on the verge of being picked and winning a State of Origin series. Yeah. Centre?
Oh, Latrell Mitchell probably.
Can't argue with that.
No. 5'8"?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, 5'8" and a half I think are hard ones.
5'8", you'd have to go Maloney.
What about Widdop?
Widdop's been good. I'm still leaning towards Maloney.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose Widdop had all that time out. That's the only thing about him. Yeah, I could go with that. What about half?
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit biased here and go DCE.
Oh, really?
Come on. He's been, you know what? He had a lot of really good games, and you know is now one of the leading contenders for Australian team. So
Nathan Cleary, not?
I think he's gone quiet. Don't get me wrong, the guy's got a tremendous amount of talent, and Gus Gould said today on NRL.com that Nathan Cleary is his greatest signing. He's just signed for 5 years.
5 years? I thought it was 4.
5 years. So his greatest signing. Well, that's a big punt because he's gone missing. He's gone missing.
It's a big call.
Lock?
Okay, so lock. Sam Burgess?
I think it's a toss-up between Tamalolo and Jake Trbojevic.
No, if I was out of those two, I'd go Trbojevic because I think Tamalolo's had a good year.
Hang on, you go Trbojevic because Tamalolo's had a good year.
No, hasn't had a good year.
So who do you really think then? You think Burgess?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he's been as dominant. I don't think he's needed to be as dominant this year, and I think that's probably...
Well, I think because Souths have been winning, you probably haven't noticed it that much, but yeah. Second row?
I don't know. Second row is too hard. There's just a great big swathe of great second rowers. I'd probably go for Tyson Frizzell.
Yeah. What about young Rooster?
Young Rooster?
Yeah, young Rooster. What's his name? I've forgotten his name.
Come on, I've already picked 2 Roosters in Teddy and Latrell Mitchell. Don't even pick a third.
Yeah, okay. All right, then.
But Kafusi's come afire the last part of the
season.
season.
Actually, no, I take it back. Kafusi. I think he's done really well. Prop?
Gee, that's a hard one too. I don't think there's been a standout this year, to be honest.
Wura Hargraves?
Before injury, he was... one
of the Burgesses, maybe?
No, not one of the Burgesses.
No, I think George has had a very good year.
I'll tell you who's been impressive.
Who? Tell me.
I think they've been impressive since they've changed clubs, and that's Aaron Woods. I know he's playing off the bench and he's coming on and he's doing a great job. David Clemmer doing a great job. Props a hard one because they don't play for 80 minutes. They play for 40 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Hooker?
Cook.
Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Cook ahead of my man McInnes, who I really like. But yeah, I like Damien Cook's got to be the go.
All right, look, we're just dragging this out now for a bit of time. Thank you for joining us. Anything else you want to add before we go?
I thought, why do you think we're just dragging it out? Now we're just dragging it out. Look, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. We'll see you at Windsor Park. Windsor Oval?
Windsor Park.
Windsor Park?
Yeah, I don't know.
Windsor Park on Monday after the grand final.
Out there at South Windsor.
To watch the emerging nations, home of the mighty Windsor Wolves.
Yes. Okay, so enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the grand final. You know what? We're going to do this one more time and that'll be next week. Hey, I had a thought. Ooh. Do we want to put a poll on saying whether we should be back again next year?
No. We're back again next year.
Hang on, we've got to sign contracts yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Put it to 0 on the 0.
All right, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll do it all again next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.